A very good evening, everybody. This is Gulf Harbour Radio, ZMH 286, Patricia and David. And it's not a very pleasant evening here. It's been rather blustery and, well, it's certainly been grey all day today. And it remains grey, 100% cloud cover, and only 17 degrees. So the sweaters have been coming on and off. 8 knots from the west at the moment and 1018.5. Much more pleasant, although it's 90% cloud in the sole remaining boat in Minerva. Hello to Rich and Michelle. 15 knots of southeast from them. 2 metres outside, east-southeast, 90% cloud cover and 1015. So that's what's going on there. We have the string of boats heading south, of course, and all going well. I'm going to see if I can find them now. Morning Star, Gulf Harbour. Yeah, I was thinking maybe you weren't there tonight. A very good evening, Scott and Mary. Go ahead. How's it been today? Over.
Today has been light and variable, I would say, but a very, very pleasant day to be on the water. Breeze came up a little bit. I'll go ahead and give you a position report if you're ready.
Yep, go ahead.
All right. We are currently at 27 degrees, 48 minutes south, 175 degrees, 57 minutes east, on a course of 225 true. Speed is 5 knots. Wind is southeast 10. It has been very all over the map today. It only recently came up. Swell east 145 meters, so there are a couple of wave trains going on. 100% cloud as far as 1019 and relatively steady. It's down just a little bit today, but steady now. Over.
Yeah, what about the seas? You know, everyone has been commenting, and I think you started it with the sort of severe wind chop and just sloppy unpleasantness. Has that sort of stabilised over?
Yeah, absolutely. When the wind dropped, in half a day or so, the wind chop on top came down, so it's a much more pleasant ride out here. There's pretty clearly more than one wave train going on, but they're pretty far apart, and it's smoothed out quite a bit.
Oh, good show. I'll just repeat that. So Morning Star, Scott and Mary on their way to NZ. Light and variable most of the day, but the wind is now southeast 10. Pleasant day sailing. 27 degrees 48 south, 175 degrees 57 east. Course is 225 true at 5 knots. There's an easterly swell of 1.5 metres, but the seas are an awful lot better. 100% cloud cover and 1019. Well, that sounds good. It looks, well, I better not comment, otherwise I get growled at here, but I had a sneak look at the GFS. David's going to give a more detailed report shortly, but it looks like it's sort of going to be much the same. So what I might do is put it across before. I'm going to try and find Tango in a minute, and then we'll see what's going on with Kotanui. But meanwhile, good evening to Margero up there. Rainy day in Margero. Good evening to you guys, John and Lynette. Here's David.
Alrighty, good evening, and well, just a short look at the weather. I think between Minerva and New Zealand, that seems to be the main interest, probably the only interest. So a quasi-stationary front that lies across the path of all of the passage yachts. At noon, it starts from a depression at about 45 south and 160 west, and it runs north as it curves along the way. So could make a mark, if you want, at 30 south and 162 west, then put a dot on Tongatapu, then another dot at 22 south and the date line, and then the last dot at New Caledonia. It goes on from there. So if you connect the dots, that pretty much is the axis of this quasi-stationary front. Now the cloud from it is very, very broad. So even though you make that line, you could put your thumb over that line, and that's going to be the extent of the clouds on either side of it. Those coordinates, by the way, were at noon. So looking at satellite imagery at about 5 p.m., pretty much dense and heavily laden cloud runs from the Coral Sea right over New Caledonia and then to 27 south and the dateline. Then it becomes broken along the curve that I gave you to all the way to the previous mentioned depression. So yeah, that's one reason why the clouds are what they are. This is a very, very large and area quasi-stationary front. Quasi-stationary, by the way, means that it moves less than 5 knots. Now, for Danella, or yachts around 27 south and 17846, by lunch tomorrow, the winds look to be easterly, 7 to 10 knots, not much at all, and probably about 70% cloud, and that will be broken with really only a small chance of showers. Now, on Monday, if you are at 30 south and 176 east, cloud cover maybe 85%. Wind easterly about 10 to 15 knots. If you haven't quite made it that far to 30 south, winds are still going to be about 10 to 15 knots easterly. Seas look to be southwest about 2 meters. So it's going to be pretty bouncy out there as you head toward New Zealand based on the direction of those swells. And lastly, this is just a notice to Pogean there in Minerva. EC picks up a tropical low over Tonga late Sunday, the 1st of December. Now, I see only one closed isobar, so it may not develop at all. However, winds still will be strong, and that is due to the strong high that is near the South Island of New Zealand, just to the west of it, at 1032 millibar. So the winds could develop to gale force. Now, GFS makes no mention of this, so only time will tell. The other models are bright enough not to go out that far, this is one of the situations where you could flip a coin. So going out 8 to 10 days, the models are just an idea, but just be aware of the possibility of this happening. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So if anybody has questions, now's the time, and I'll pass it over to the chief.
All right, looks like 27 south or around there is quite a popular place at the moment. So I see Tango is around there. I'm just going to see if I can find Tango. Let's check out their radio, get the dust and cobwebs away. Tango, Tango, Gulf Harbour Radio.
Nope.
No, nothing heard. They said that they were going to try it out tonight, but I think it has not been in much use. So maybe it's decided to go on strike. I will go way across to inside the Barrier Reef, and we've got 2 boats there, Kurtanui, good evening Mike and family, and Picasso, and they are inside the reef and enjoying the flat water. Breeze is 18 to 26 from the southeast, which explains why they're going so fast. 7 to 10 knots of boat speed. Picasso is just about 4 miles ahead of them at the moment. And he says, I hear the 29er sailing fleet at Manly has AUKUS with them at the moment. Oh, I better go out and look out my window. They have been around. They were a bit further south on the coast here a few days ago. I'll get David working while I tell Kotanui something else. This is for Majuro. He says, copy you on the potential for a depression at Tonga on Sunday. Thank you. Oh, well, that's good. That was Rich on Pagean. It wasn't up there in Majuro. I was looking at the wrong one.
Sunday the 1st.
So he has heard. Copy you on the potential for a depression.
Sunday the 1st.
Sunday the 1st.
Not tomorrow.
Not tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Yes, it is a week away. Sunday the 1st. Getting closer to David being an old man. Okay, now getting back to Kotanui, you better keep the speed up because not too far behind you is this amazing boat called Seahawk. Now Seahawk, I was noticing their speed. It was 10.6 when I looked before. And I thought, gee, that's going well. But it turns out that Seahawk, which is a sailboat, it's dark blue. It's got a couple of masts and a couple of head sails, and it is 58.6 metres long. So if you see something very large and blue and fast coming up behind you, be prepared to be impressed. 11.4 metres wide, draft is 4.3. It's a 77 tonne, and it is going the same direction as you guys to Tual in Indonesia. So there you go. There's always a bigger boat, isn't there? No matter how big and fast and things you think you are, there's somebody comes along with something better. Yep. Okay. Is there anybody else that wants any clarification of anything or wants to join us to say hello? Please call.
Somebody.
Soy Libre. Well, where are you, Andy? Not too strong a copy, but I'm sure I'll work out where you are. Over. Yeah, and how many are left in Muscat Cove at the moment? Oh, sorry, I doubled with you, and thank you for that report. How many boats, cruising boats, are left at Muscat Cove at the moment?
Looks like there might be maybe a dozen, but most of the people left, and I'm going to be leaving beginning of December, somewhere in December.
Okay. Oh, well, that's interesting. I tell you what, though, we will not be operating then. We'll be busy getting our boat ready. But if you need anything, comment on passage or whatever, we will still be operating on the email. Over.
That's good. I can contact you over email, huh?
Yep, roger that. Hope it's a less exciting trip back than previous. Over.
Okay. I'll pick up the email address on that.
Yep, it's on the website, but it is GH at extra.nz if anybody wants anything after we finish, and we will be finishing this year for about the first time that I can remember at the end of November because we've got lots to do to get Chameleon organised and other things. So there you go. And thanks, Mike, for the information about Seahawk, which I thought I had seen it around. It is just had a big refit at Orem, so down here, so we might have seen it looking down from our trips across the bridge. All right, yeah, it does look pretty impressive in the picture. So there you go. Okay, well, is there anybody else? Nice to say hello to Soy Libra. Is there anybody else? And nothing heard from Tango, so there we go, and we will talk to you all again tomorrow night. This is Gulf Harbour Radio Clear. If anyone wants the frequency, it is all yours. Oh, that's nice, thank you.